Continuing our quest for tabletop immortality here with Godtear, exploring some of the ranged slayers, the ranged slayer champions, Tactica, building that checklist, looking for those opportunities on the table. Now, in terms of slayers and the different champions and warband types, I find that there's a duality. On the one hand, they are the easiest type of champion to play, but there's a qualifier for that. Easiest as in you can just run right in, not really any synergy, which we want synergy in Godtear, but you can run right in, roll some dice, smash some heads, and have an effective strategy. But there is also this duality of them being very, very challenging to play because there's some finesse. And the finesse that I find with the Slayers is they are in your face. Rangosh is in your face, smashing stuff. If you can have the correct buffs, debuffs, if you can have the correct positioning, if you can utilize the members of the warband, their followers, to support the champion, all of a sudden that becomes a huge force of nature. And the opposing warbands, especially if you're playing 2 or 3, your opponent, they really got to be on top of the game. They really need to dedicate perhaps more resources than are needed to contain that champion, to contain the Slayers. So on the one hand, really, really easy to learn, a lot of fun to play, but there is a nuance in utilizing them. This leads into the idea of ranged Slayers. And by ranged Slayers, elves and dwarves, the duality of you want to get up there and cause a lot of damage with the champions. If you're a Slayer, that's where you're earning the points for knocking out other champions. And that's where just utilizing the dice, even if you're not going after champions, going after followers, you have a good volume of dice and attacks that you can regularly rack up points every single turn. But at the same time, and this is true for all of the champions, we want to be claiming and planting banners. That duality is always going on. And the Slayers have this synergy in that they do that well. They're going to get up there anyway and smash, and they tend to have better armor, more life based on the character champion class, so they can plant that banner and essentially tank. But with being a ranged champion, we want to stay away. To be able to stay away, to protect ourselves, to pull off other resources from the central mass of god tiers, if you're playing life or other type of missions with tier chains, to pull off those followers, to pull off those champions, to engage. So that means with the Slayer champions that are ranged, it's a little bit more challenging to plant banners, and you want to plant every single turn. So what this means is playing with 2 or 3 other champions, now they're really forced to plant the banners. And this is where not only planting, but crushing banners becomes very, very important. So that is the duality, and that is the question as you forge out your warbands. In my mind, if you're playing 2 or 3 or custom 4 champions, you take a ranged Slayer. What's the other team that's going to be going in to make sure you are planting banners and possibly getting bonus points on planting banners, or at the end of the turn, if your banner remains and isn't crushed, getting those points, looking at the blues and the greens to add that. That's the type of synergy that 100% you definitely need in that quest for tabletop immortality.